Now, the next thing that I hear most often is that mistakes are failures.
There's a quote I've so far learned that
Yeah.
is, good decisions come from experience, and experience comes from bad decisions.
Repeat that again for us.
Good, good decisions come from experience, and experience comes from bad decisions. So first comprehend that. If I told you to understand is that mistakes are not failures, and you're not the failures you yourself. If you're to look at the great people of our centuries, look at Thomas Edison,
Yeah.
who was able to work on a light bulb over for 10,000 times.
Yes.
And every time he failed, he considered it as the part that did not work out, and he had to look for a better way to be able to find a way. Look at Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
Albert Einstein was a person that during his high school, most of the information, in fact, most of his teachers, he was always a loser in class. He didn't pass so excellently, but he was one of the person that found out the theory of relativity, one of the greatest theories in human history. And these are things that he was not stopped by the failures he had in his classroom, and he had to think beyond all these kind of failures. So one of the things we need to understand is that we need to first conceptualize what are mistakes and what defines failures. Because one of the things we need to understand, we as human beings, we are really, really afraid of rejection.
Yes.
So when we fail something in real life, is a way it's psychologically, it perturbs our mind, it makes us feel we're being rejected by society. And that that's why we fear to do mistakes. And also one of the ways that we've got to conceptualize why mistakes are referred to failures is that every time when we're in class, and you raise up your hand and you give a wrong answer, there's sometimes when you are punished, I don't know if I told you today, students are still being punished for giving the wrong answer.
They used to cane us for
Exactly.
not like if you get 80%, what happened to other 20%? Go down. Cha 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 cha.
Exactly, and that gives you a perception of, okay, I don't need to say the wrong thing. If I don't know the right thing, I shouldn't try to participate or anything. You are caned for trying, which is in the real life does not work. You find in the real life, as we say, the great things, your good decisions come from experience, and experience comes from bad decisions. So over time, as you try, you get to understand that mistakes are what comprises of success. Or even the more you fail, the more you succeed. There's a general example that they normally used to say is that imagine this is an example I used to give as for salesmen, especially networking companies. They normally say that okay, there's a person who's going to approach 10,000 people,
Yes.
and out of the 10,000 people is going to only to get 10 people. Then there's you who's going to approach 20, and then you give up. So who's better? So the more you try, the more you stand the chances of winning. And also the other thing that I got to realize about mistakes is a quote from Albert Einstein is that if you're not failing, that means it's a sign that you're not trying something out new. So that means if I told you currently you're having some mistakes you're going through, or maybe failures that you're going through, it's a sign that you're trying out something new, which is a good sign that you should actually ponder yourself and think yourself for being able to take up the risk. It's not easy, because one of the things that I also talked about is if you're able to understand that mistakes or the failures, how we perceive them, are rejection to us. That you get to understand, okay, when I fail, when I raise my hand, and then I say a wrong answer, students are going to view me as I'm not sharp, I'm not a sharp person. So I would rather not say anything and keep it to myself. So, and that's why I also think there's a concept. That's why you see prisoners are always kept away from the external world, because the easier way of torturing a person is to isolate him. Yeah, and also that's how we should also view as mistakes. Mistakes you should not isolate yourself from them, but you should be able to engage with them and also be able to learn over time from them.
Yes.
And also, lastly, I would want to leave a quote from Lazio Cha. Is that a quote that I recall is that a great nation is like a great man.
Yeah.
When he makes mistakes, he realizes it, and after realizing his mistakes, he accepts it. After accepting the mistake, he corrects it, and he is able to reward the people who have been able to analyze his mistakes. So most times we also tend not to listen to the people who are criticizing us.
Yes.
We tend to label them as our enemies. But sometimes your enemies are the fastest people to notice your mistakes that you're making. So at times you also need to pay attention to your enemies and get to understand your mistakes first.
True. So guys out there, don't hate your enemies, learn from them and learn from your mistakes. Mistakes don't mean you're a failure. If you're out there failing math, this is not the end, guys. Just go keep trying those numbers, you can make it. Now what about this thing that says you are not worthy? I've heard it very many times. I've had many friends of mine tell me that their friends, their parents told them you're not worthy, you're not good enough, you can't make it. What do you have to say about that?
Well, you're not worthy is something that I've also personally gone through. It's something that we label to ourselves that because of the failures we have still gone through and also the mistakes, we feel that we're not able to do better than we've done. So you find the mistakes you did earlier on become who you are.
Yeah.
And in the Power of Now, they explain this is that you as a human being, you need to dissociate yourself from the things you do. Let's say you introduced me as the founder of Makere Gavo Club. I'm not the founder of Makere Gavo Club. It's a title label to me, but
Yes.
it doesn't define who I am.
True.
And if at all anything goes wrong, it shouldn't lower my self-esteem or same applies to my self-confidence. So if we're looking at your worthiness as a person, you need to be able to distance yourself from the titles you hold in society, or maybe the things that might have gone wrong. If you've tried out whatever activity or maybe hobby you've tried out and things have failed, maybe if at all they used to bully you in high school, you're trying to overcome that in your real life. It's something you need to understand. You're not that person. Those were situations that happened, but those situations do not define you.
Those situations do not define you. Yes.
Yeah. So that's how basically I can see a person. If I told you have this mindset, especially if I told you've gone through a lot of trauma, and most times this comes with people who tend to victimize themselves. To be every time you find they always think there's a problem.
Yes.
And according to the book of the Power of Now, is that in our day-to-day lives, there's always there's no problem, there's no past, and there's no future. And it deeply explains the concept of that time is an illusion. Is that us being here right now, we're here at this very moment.
Yeah.
There's no life in the future, there's no life in the past. Can there be life in the past? Can you live? It's just, they were giving an example, is that imagine human beings were not living on planet Earth. It was only plants, rivers, lakes. Yeah? So in that instance, you find there's no past, there's no future. It's the daily life of how to live. And then in that concept, they get to explain your problems. Your problems are mainly some things that you attach time to. Maybe if something happened in the past, I'm going to attach it to something, and that's you have an emotional attachment to your problem.
Yes.
But when you let go, you find there's actually nothing there. There are situations that happen, but they're not part of you. You just have a memory construct of them, of what happened.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let go of those sayings, let go of those things that say you are not worthy. I know sometimes, especially as ladies, you can wake up one morning and you're not feeling beautiful enough, you're not feeling worthy, you're not feeling worthy of anything that you have. I just want to remind you today that you are worthy. Thank you very much, Emmanuel Akandwanaho. Yes, thank you for having us today. And that's it.
That's it.